Welcome to the LaSTEM Collective Podcast, a monthly partnership of the SCILS Region 8 LaSTEM Center and Louisiana Delta Community College, bringing you conversations and accomplishments, opportunities, and experiences in the Louisiana Region 8 STEM ecosystem and beyond. And now, here are your hosts, Ryan Pierce and Cathi Cox-Boniol. All right, well, welcome everybody to the first ever SCILS Region 8 LaSTEM Center podcast. I am Ryan Pierce, and across from me, or on the other screen, as you see, is Miss Cathi Cox-Boniol. Should we do a round of applause?
I was hearing it. It was here. I heard it in my hair. There was people applauding everywhere.
Cathi, if you don't mind, since we're introducing ourselves, why don't you introduce you? Because I feel like you're the most important part of this how can I say this partnership that we have.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the word partnership, because in my mind, Ryan, that's exactly what this is. And in fact, the Region 8 LaSTEM Center is built on partnerships, and that's kind of why Louisiana Tech University brought me back into this. I had retired after 40 years in public education and was happily retired, and then a pandemic hit, and I thought, I don't want to be happily home with a pandemic. And so as things would happen, they gave a call, and this was right up my alley. I've been involved in science and STEM education my entire career, and the opportunity to begin this new adventure, I'll call it, was just really in my wheelhouse, and it has been just entirely exciting and exhilarating and rewarding. And, we're just really new into this. And so it's exciting. I can't tell you how appreciative I am that you reached out and wanted to do this in partnership with Louisiana Delta Community College, because y'all are one of our premier partners. And so this is a big deal for us.
So we really thank you for bringing us into the fold, obviously. Tell us a little bit about the history of why SCILS even exists.
So, anybody that's kind of had an eye on workforce development in the state of Louisiana realizes that the future of jobs lies in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, for people who might not be aware of that acronym. And so they really wanted to focus an initiative around awareness, opportunities, and eventual plug-ins into the workforce, developing those STEM skills. And so it came out of our legislature. They say, they saw the need for this. Senator Sharon Hewitt, I cannot say enough about her. She is a real woman in STEM. She is a true champion for this, and she really got it going. And so we are now wrapping up the third year of the initiative, which divided the state into 9 regions. And each region is in a geographic workforce development area for the state. Lincoln Parish is interesting. It actually sits in Region 7, but Louisiana Tech was awarded the Center for Region 8. Mm-hmm. And so our proposal was that we would serve Region 8, but we would extend our reach along the I-20 corridor, because that is a huge pipeline of opportunity for our state. And so our job at the LaSTEM Center is to bring partners into the fold, and that we all kind of coalesce around a combined vision, a shared vision around what opportunities are available, not just in North Louisiana, but across our state, and then bringing people in so that they have the skills necessary to man the workforce of the future.
And I love, the acronym, right? SCILS. And you just said skills. It all goes together. This has been a great venture. I know that Louisiana Delta Community College has certainly benefited from the partnership, but from hearing other ideas, seeing what everybody else is doing. I think part of the thing that probably makes SCILS so valuable is that we're communicating now, and we're sharing all of these wonderful activities and events and accomplishments and achievements with each other. And that's something that I know you can't help but be excited when you can celebrate regularly what we're all doing in this part of the state.
Yeah, and that's been one of the things that was important for us. Everybody's a little isolated on their island, but that needs to stop. We all need to realize that we are connected. And so one of the first things we did with the LaSTEM team at Tech is we started trying to figure out, how do we best get the word out? And there's so much information that comes down the pipe. And so I began working on a weekly e-blast, I call it, that goes out to all of our stakeholders. I mean, anybody that wants to be a stakeholder just has to go to Region 8 LaSTEM at gmail.com and say, Cathi, I want to be a part of this. We'll sign you up for the weekly e-blast. In it, I share opportunities for whether it's STEM activities and education, whether it's workforce training, whether it's whatever that has to do with this, because there are so many ways to frame this. That goes out every Monday morning, and it lands in your email, and there you go. You can peruse what the opportunities are. And then once a month, I collect things that have been happening within our partnerships, and we put them in a newsletter, and we email that out across the state as well, because part of me really wants other people to realize the amazing stuff going on in North Louisiana. Sometimes we kind of get lost in the shuffle. We are the more rural area, and we're not the big urban environments, but man, have we got some fantastic things going on. So I love the celebrating. I love the opportunity to talk about it. We try to find every way possible to do that, and our podcast is going to allow us to do that every month when we get together.
It's beautiful. Sometimes you just have to try a little bit harder, right? And I know that us in the North, we feel like we have to do just that. The attention a lot of times goes other places in the state, and that's no problem. I mean, you got higher population, you got other things happening in other parts of the state, but we know we have to stand out, and we were like, hey, I'm so happy that you agreed to doing this, because we may very well be, although I'm not sure, but we may very well be the only ones in the state doing a podcast like this to celebrate what we got going on. And hopefully this will catch on and be another way, another communication channel, another avenue for our messages and what we're celebrating to get out there throughout the state. So Cathi, again, thank you so much for agreeing to do this so readily. I mean, it didn't take much time at all. I said, hey, let's do this. You were like, sure. But that's kind of your nature, right? If it makes sense, it sounds good, if it's going to be of benefit to the region at large, let's go ahead and do it. So thank you so much. So
you're welcome.
You kind of you kind of segued into something that's interesting. If we're celebrating all the wonderful things that are happening in the area, why don't we do a little bit of a STEM recap and see. Let's talk about what happened in the month of October.
Okay, so can I just say, I want us to start by saying that Louisiana Delta Community College kind of set the stage, because Ryan sent out early on this flyer, because I love to promote what's going on with our partners, and he said, hey, we've got this, and so I immediately wanted to push it out. He said, it's Cyber Month, let's get the word out there. So Ryan, what are some great things that Louisiana Delta Community College did to help celebrate Cyber Month 2022?
So the main focus of Cyber Month 2022 was giving our students, especially our technology, our IT students, and our computer science students, and our cybersecurity students, the opportunity to tune in and talk to experts and listen to them. A lot of times, in the classroom, it's fun to teach the concepts, and you need that foundation. But there are a lot of times when there are things that are happening at a breakneck pace, at a moment's notice. Industry trends change at all times, at any time. And so you got to bring in those folks that are in the field, and they're seeing the challenges, and they're trying to overcome those challenges regularly. And so we had a number of guests on talking about everything from multi-factor authentication to challenges and with the remote workforce and cybersecurity, managed services providers. Those are just some of the concepts, and I know I'm not doing it justice because we did about 6 of them. We had someone from Activision actually come on and talk about careers at Activision in both cybersecurity and in game testing, quality assurance testing. So we just wanted to, we wanted to talk about everything tech related. It wasn't just cybersecurity, even though a lot of it focused on cybersecurity, because October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And so, but we said, you know what, we just want to celebrate it all. And this was our opportunity to do that. So we had about 6 speakers on throughout the course of October. And then also we had a couple of events that were on campus. One of them was just an opportunity for students to come in, no matter what your background was. You could be in any major, but let's just say you were curious about IT. What's something that you do in the IT field? Well, one thing that you do in the IT field, and you probably cut your teeth on when you're just starting, is making network cables or patch cables, which is how we connect to the internet a lot of times, or how we connect to our networks at our places of business. We'd like Wi-Fi, but there's always going to be a need to have a secure connection, and sometimes it's even faster when you can plug into the wall. And so those skills, believe it or not, they translate when you're
Absolutely.
when you're outfitting a new building, and you need to run wires through the ceiling and through conduit and down walls and whatnot. If you're in IT support, you're likely going to do some things like that, or you may have to fix cabling and things like and re-terminate those cables. So that was one thing that we did. The other thing that's coming up tomorrow, actually, is so by the time everybody sees this, it may have already passed, but I should say today. It's today. October 26th, we're having Neelatech, which is Northeast Louisiana Technology Group. They're coming on campus and they're going to host an event to bring in sort of an opportunity to see each other face to face and to really communicate and network and share the good news or the not so good news of what's going on in the cyber world. And so they're coming to see us or coming to the ATC Community Auditorium on the Monroe campus this evening at 6 o'clock. And so that's going to be a fun time, just everybody to gather and eat a little bit and listen to a good speaker talk about some of the latest trends that are out there.
I'm going to tell you, in listening to this, and we kind of throw this around a lot, awareness is such a big deal. And so to provide an opportunity for our students to really get an authentic look at what these jobs are, what skills are involved. I mean, we were talking earlier, if you can't be it if you don't see it. And for some individuals that may not have ever been exposed to it, or they're like, what does that really mean? And then to have someone who actually works in the field be able to talk about what they did, how they got there, the challenges that they overcame, and the possibilities for the future. We focus on that a lot with our middle school girls as well. We want them to hear from people that are out there so that they might see themselves and say, I could do that one day, and really make an informed decision about their future. And that's what this LaSTEM thing is all about, thinking about the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I couldn't have said it any better than that. So again, as we're going around the horn, thank you for allowing Louisiana Delta to go first and talk about Cyber Month. We're very excited and we're very pleased that we were able to pull that off. But now, what else is going on in the area?
Okay, so while we're on the cyber subject, we have a new initiative that we've just developed at Louisiana Tech. My colleague and I, Missy Woolley and I, put together something called CS4U. CS, the number 4, and then the letter U. It stands for Computer Science for You. And it's part of our statewide initiative of Girls in STEM. And we want our girls to start seeing that they are every bit as capable of having a career in the computer science space as possible. So the 4 CSs that we focused on are computer science, cybersecurity, coding skills, and then career success. We always include a career success component because we want them to interface with the professionals in our area. And so I've thrown up a picture, and this was our debut cohort. We had middle grades girls from West Carroll Parish, Union Parish, and Lincoln Parish come together for the very first event. It was a day and a half. The first time we tried a day and a half event. They came in after school on Thursday, and they stayed until 9 o'clock that night. And then they got up the next morning, started at 7:30, and they went until 2:30 the next day. And so they had a segment where Dr. Lisa Dick and some of her university students from Louisiana Tech came in and really got the girls engaged in some computer science, and they were doing some coding, and the opportunity to have these university mentors by their side. It was so powerful to watch these young ladies developing their confidence and working in teams and seeing their collaboration come forward and their communication, the kinds of things we want our young people to be developing, and their enthusiasm. Even here we are, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, they did not want to stop.
Wow.
They were so engaged. It was amazing to watch them. They were coding a fairy tale or something. It was wild, but it was amazing.
I love the fact that you talked about the 4 CSs. I thought it was just computer science for girls, but it was the 4 CSs: cybersecurity, computer science, coding skills,
and career success.
And that's so important, right? I mean, talking about career success, how do you set yourself up to land a job or even be noticed? I'm assuming y'all were talking about resume writing and LinkedIn and things like that. That's amazing.
Well, and the second day during right after they finished their cyber scavenger hunt on the Tech campus, which was amazing as well. They go through a whole thing about cryptography and how to break codes, and then they had to actually break codes and find locations on the Tech campus. And of course, we had fabulous prizes for the team that finished first. But then they had their panel of professionals on the career success part. And what I found so wonderful about this is they had someone that was from the IT space, but we also had someone from Argent Financial, someone from Northern Louisiana Medical Center,
Oh, yeah.
someone that's actually teaching in the education. I mean, they heard from women in the CS space, but from different viewpoints. And they talked about what it took to get there and how, they might not have known they were going to do this early on, but they found that they had a skill or an interest in it, and they progressed through. I mean, it really gives the girls an opportunity to ask questions and understand what it means to be a professional, but to also see that I could be that person. So anyway, I love that career success, because, Ryan, that kind of thing didn't take place when I was back in school. Of course, this would not have been offered to me because I was a girl back in the 60s and 70s.
I was going to say, it can't be understated.
No.
There's a need for diversity in the STEM fields, and women are a large part, probably, I would say, underrepresented, maybe just not recognized as being such powerful players in the STEM field. So you have university professors coming in, talking to those students that look like, and they look like them, so it's like, this is possible for you as well. I think that's beautiful. And the fact that you said, again, way back when.
It is way back when.
I mean, you couldn't.
Listen, in all honesty, and I wrote a column about this not long ago, because we had been in Pittsburgh for National Girls Collaborative Project Collaboration Institute, and we listened to this amazing panel of high school girls. So diverse, so articulate. I mean, just talking about their experiences. And I came back just with this revelation that, oh my gosh, when I was their age, I wanted to take welding. My dad had been welding his whole life. I was fascinated by it. I wanted to take industrial arts as one of my electives in high school. I wanted to learn to weld like my daddy, and they wouldn't let me. Not because it didn't fit my schedule, but because I was a girl. And so in 1972, that wasn't even, it wasn't available. I took home ec and I liked it. I'm a great cook. But I was not able. So to be able to offer this and say, you can do this, it doesn't matter if you're a girl. I think sometimes girls just need the confidence to say, yes, I can. And then when they see women in the space, it's amazing. I'm going to throw up some pictures that show the girls doing their thing, Ryan. Here's one great picture after they had done their breakout boxes. They had to do the thing. And, you have to go through all this cryptography. And so this was one of our teams from Simsboro High School. And when they got in there and they realized they'd done it, because it was a struggle. But then they were they were learning perseverance, persistence. You stay with it, you work together. Then we had, here's one of them with, this is over from Oak Grove High School. She's got her breakout box, working on it there. They're trying to solve the riddles, the puzzles to get into it. So intent. Wow. Here they are on the floor working around it. Here's the deal. When Missy gave them these boxes and said, you're going to have to solve these puzzles to do it, they didn't even hesitate. They went, and look at them, all gathered around, going forward. It was the most amazing experience to watch them in that space. It really was.
As you're looking at them, they're intently focused. I have to ask a question now. Was there some kind of screening process? Was it just first come, first serve? Because these girls, every picture looked like they were all the way engaged.
They're on it. Some of them had some experience. This is a team from Downsville Community Charter School that you're seeing there. Mm-hmm. Some of them had some previous experience with coding. Some had none. And we offered it. We sent the invitation out across the region. And of course, we were going to take whoever. And of course, a lot of people want to wait and see, okay, is this really going to be valuable? What's going on? This is something new. And so we had these groups that agreed to come. And totally, their teachers, administrators were the ones that determined, who would be coming. I'm going to throw up the winners of the scavenger hunt there. Cedar Creek right there.
Okay. Congratulations.
That's one of the locations. They had to find the big bulldog there. But anyway, it was so successful. And in just a minute, I'll talk a little bit more about how we're expanding this. But we are now offering it every month to additional groups, and our schedule is filling up. And so our goal, our commitment, our pledge is at least 200 middle grades girls by the end of March before testing starts.
Now, you said once a month. Now, this is the type of programming that happens maybe, every summer, but it's ambitious. We're talking a day and a half. Did they spend the night, or they had to go some?
Okay, so let's just back up and let me clarify something. So the first one we piloted it and actually modeled it after the Civic Engagement Institute, a half a day and a full day.
I'm familiar.
And so we knew, because we were extending the invitation all the way to the Mississippi River, that some of those folks would need to spend the night. And so in partnership with our Convention and Visitors Bureau in town, we set it up. We only had one bold enough to come and stay. That was West Carroll Parish, but they did. They stayed and did it. Others were able to drive back and forth. Because we're going to continue it, we are doing it in one day and doing just a little bit of a modification. So it's still the same thing, but we still we have committed to a minimum of 200 middle grade girls this year.
That is incredible. What a feat. And I know y'all are going to pull it off. You have the right team together. You're at the helm. It's going to be great. Wow. So that's a great story right there. I also want to say, okay, we're done. But no, there's more.
No,
there's more incredible
there's more
things that are going on. So tell us all about those.
So this kind of dovetails into the next thing. One thing we want to talk about are accomplishments. And we've managed to, without even knowing it, pull off something that we were not anticipating. It was almost, well, I'm going to say it was unintentional. We developed CS for You, and we're going to use it to promote Girls in STEM, which is our statewide initiative this year. And we were invited to attend the CS for All. I didn't even know there was a CS for All, but it means Computer Science for All. And it's this huge national, I want to think even global movement to expand interest in the computer science space. And so me just boldly going where no one's gone before, I got on there. Yeah, really. I'm checking to see if my ears are pointed. I got in there and I put it in. I said, we're doing this thing. We would love to come be a part of this. And at the end of the day, the LaSTEM Center, Region 8 LaSTEM Center, was named one of the national commitment makers for CS for All, one of 180 that were made nationwide. And you see this picture. This is Missy Woolley, who is the assistant director for SCILS, and myself in Memphis. Didn't hurt my feelings to be in Memphis, but there we are at Memphis for the CS for All Summit, where we were part of other national commitment makers, and it was an amazing experience.
I mean, I want everybody, I don't know if you can pull the picture back up or not.
I can do that.
Because I just wanted to show everybody kind of what I see. And if you look at the picture closely, those are two really proud, really happy, enthused individuals in that picture. I'm looking at you, Cathi, and I'm thinking, man, there's no place else you'd rather be than right there, and not only learning new things, but also sharing the good news of what's going on in our area. So I just wanted to point that out. I saw it, and I think it's great. It's just a fabulous picture.
Well, Ryan, I appreciate that, and I got to tell you, and I'm going to reference something you said a while ago about way back, because I have been on the planet longer than anybody.
Oh, come on.
And so I look at myself in this picture at the tender age of 63, and when I mean, even 10 years ago, would I have imagined myself in this place for this reason, on this mission? And the answer to that is no, with the exception of my career has been based around opening doors for young people and being willing to go where that journey takes me. And so I hope that others will see throughout this that it may not be our natural space of comfort. I'm going to tell you that coding and all that is not my natural space of comfort, but it is my natural space of comfort to find people that can help, us open that door for these young people to go through. I mean, that's what it's all about. And so am I happy there? Absolutely. Was it meaningful for me, for our LaSTEM Center to be in this space with code crew and all these people? Absolutely. Right. And it shows that anybody is capable of doing anything. As we talk a little bit more about this, I'll show, here's one of the activities we were working with some people in one of the breakout sessions.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Folks, that's Missy. I was busy taking pictures. And we, listen, so, okay, you talk about opportunity. We got in there, we got with this group of people, the people that were sponsoring this breakout session said the top 3 teams that finish this will win free memberships, free whatever for 36 teachers or whatever. So Missy and I were both in this group. We finished in the top 3.
Wow.
And we were able to bring that back. And so,
congratulations.
You're going to have 60 some odd teachers students that are going to be able to benefit from us just taking the time to go and do this.
I was going to ask, so is it that you're naturally competitive, or is it that you just were trying to do something that was really good?
I am very competitive.
There you go.
Let's just
I was waiting for that.
I am very competitive. Here you can see we were happy celebrating that we had won. Mm-hmm. We were very excited, but just the opportunity was the deal. Had we not won, it was still a valuable experience.
Oh, yeah.
And
so that thing in the young lady's hand.
That's the robot that we were using.
That's neat looking.
And
lights up and everything.
Missy was doing the coding over there, and we were building, a contraption that went on the top of it. You can kind of see it on top of the robot. But yeah, and so we brought that back, and so we'll have some folks that'll get resources out of this, which are great.
That's fantastic.
And,
Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Being not only an ambassador, but also bringing back even more resources than we had before. That's
incredible.
Here
you go. We continued networking, and so it was a big deal. And so being a commitment maker, let me show you this. I did bring this out because you'll probably see this on something. We made a commitment. We're one of the commitment makers. And that holds you accountable. We've said we're going to do this. We're going to do this. That's why I said it'll be a minimum of 200. Yeah. And then this to give you some context. So there we are. We were one of the 136 organizations. Look, nearly 7 million students will benefit from this.
That is incredible.
So we are very, very excited about that, very proud. And just always looking for those opportunities to move ourselves forward in that space.
Yeah. I got to tell you again, just seeing those images, I'm so glad that you took the time to document some of what you were doing, right? Because, and that's what we all have to do. Region 8, this is the wake-up call, right? We have this podcast going. The partnership is there. All the partnerships across the region are there. We have to celebrate, and we have to really not be ashamed to shine our light wherever we can. Too many great stories happen. Too many great experiences occur. Too many opportunities go unknown. And that's what this is all about, is really trying to hone in on how do we bring the news to more and more people. So those of you that are watching this right now, I know some of you are thinking, man, we did something pretty cool. I probably took a couple pictures on my camera phone. Maybe I had a professional photographer there. Make it a point to send it in. Get in touch with Cathi, get in touch with myself, and we will make sure that we bring this to light on the next episode. So don't be shy. Let's go ahead and let's keep it rolling. Give us some more. This is great stuff.
That's
great
right.
news.
So while we're talking partnerships, I just want to take a minute and talk about how the different regions partner together as well. Mm-hmm. And so, believe it or not, Region 8 is partnering with Region 2 in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
They reached out to us, which I find that as a compliment. I love it when someone reaches out because they know I'm going to say, yes, we'll make this work. So my counterpart down there, Summer Dan, she reached out and she said, Cathi, code.org is going to be our statewide initiative this year, but we want to show that it can go statewide and not just be in the Baton Rouge area. Would you be interested in doing a pilot in North Louisiana? My answer was, of course, because our young people are every bit as worthy and capable of such an opportunity. So we contacted, we're going to focus in the elementary grades because the sooner we can get our kids doing this, the better it is.
I agree.
I told somebody the other day, if we're waiting to high school, we've waited too late.
Oh my goodness. I'm so thankful that you said that, because I actually was thinking about that. I was on a ride home the other day, and I was thinking the only way we're going to change this entire ecosystem is just to start from at the very beginning.
That's it.
They're coming out the womb and it's like, here's some STEM initiatives for you,
That's it.
Here's some computer science. Yeah. Here's some, whatever would fit, all the different disciplines that are science, technology, engineering, and math. We need to be embedding that in at every step of the way. So I'm appreciate that you're talking about that, especially coding, something that's near and dear to my heart, at the very forefront. Thank you.
That's it. Well, so when Summer did it, we contacted, when she reached out, we contacted one of our teachers that we thought, again, would be willing to go on that journey with us. She said, absolutely. We sent her to training. And so what you're going to see now are 3rd through 5th graders in Ruston. Working on their code.org in class. And so you can look at those little faces.
That's what I was going to say. You have to just love when you see, again, they're smiling. They're really into it. If they could get their faces any closer to the screen, that's all it could take for them to just not jump into the computer itself and experience it firsthand.
And I love that they feel comfortable doing it together.
Right.
There they are. You'll see in just a second.
It's like
Here's
this good
another.
teamwork.
Yeah. And again, even working at a table together where they don't feel like, oh, I've got to be by myself and I don't want to be in, because this is the world they're going to be put into, where they need to work in teams and be able to communicate with one another.
That's so right.
And you're seeing girls, you're seeing boys, you're seeing different races, I mean, very diverse group. And listen, that is super important. We talked a while ago about the need for there to be diversity around the STEM table. And I'm so proud to see us showing this. I mean, it's just super exciting. And these are the young people that as they go up, we want them to take those advanced courses when they get to middle grades, when they get to high school, and to realize, I can do this. There's a place for me here.
Exactly. Plus, seat at the table. You're welcome. Encouraging all people to come in and be a part. I'm all on board for that.
And so that kind of leads me into another thing, Ryan, that I was so happy to partner with a colleague at Louisiana Tech. I've thrown up a picture a scientist. So you go back and you look, and if you take young people, and we're talking about elementary students, and say, draw a scientist, they draw some weird man with wild hair like Albert Einstein, and it's typically, some white guy that they've, seen, whatever. And so we wanted young people, and I'm talking about, this was, the target audience was university students, but I said, hey, I really would love to bring some of our middle grades and high school kids in. And so Dr. Jamie Newman, awesome. She said, absolutely. She gets it. She sees the need. So I was part of the team that brought in Dr. Tamar Goulet. I'm fixing to show you a picture of Dr. Goulet. She is another real woman in science. Here she is speaking at the breakfast. And she's part of the If-Then ambassadors that are global. And she is part of a group that they've done statues of them because they think, well, if we're going to put up statues of athletes and all this kind of stuff, let's celebrate powerful women in STEM. So they have this installation that is going in different places. I'm going to drive to Dallas and look at it just because I want to see. And so here she is, and she's signing pictures. She's a marine biologist.
Oh, wow.
Signing pictures after she had done this breakfast meeting. And we had some of our middle grade students that came and joined us here. And she talks about her journey into becoming a scientist and the challenges that are out there and the rewards that go, but really an authentic, real, talk about it. Let's don't sugarcoat it. Let's talk about how awesome it is, but let's talk about what it takes to get there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got to love it when you hear the real experiences, the real story, because stories a lot of times draw us in. They let us picture ourselves in those shoes. So it's not just somebody else's tale, but it actually could be me, or in some way in the future, I see myself accomplishing all the things that were accomplished by the person that's right in front of me. So we need those types of stories. I'm so glad that she shared that.
Yeah, and she was amazing. She's from Ole Miss, and we did a special screening of the film Picture a Scientist that night, and it's a group of, 7 or 8 women in STEM talk about their journey. And the room was both male and female, and we had high school and university. And I was so glad that there were so many guys there. They might have come for the pizza, but they got a whole lot more because I watched their body language. I watched their faces as these stories were told. 2 equally qualified individuals, one male, one female. They put the female in the smaller room, or they said, no, you can't do this, strictly because they were female. So, I think sometimes for our young people, it's a little shocking in the year 2022, but yet
it still happens.
It still
sometimes.
happens. So you see that young man that we just had up there, he stayed. He wanted to get his picture autographed. We've got one, I love this one, where it shows, this guy's so happy he has met her. He's getting his picture made with her. He's gotten the picture autographed.
Okay, wait, right. So stop right there, right? That's a beautiful picture because, we see everybody get excited over athletes, and these famous people, musicians and whatnot. But to get excited over meeting a scientist, who's doing some really neat things in the field, who has a long history of accomplishments, to see that face right there, what you just pointed out, that's exciting to me. And I feel like we need to be celebrating more.
Isn't that awesome?
That is incredible. I love that picture.
That is that. Now I'm going to show you, we had a wonderful group of young ladies that joined us, and this was their day off. They were on fall break, and they came in after swim practice and all this and came running because they wanted to come meet her, be a part of this. And so these are high school students that were a part of this, and look at them. I mean, just excited. They're there getting their pictures autographed, and look at Dr. Goulet. I mean,
she's excited too.
To know that you're having this kind of impact. I mean, y'all, this was not a big. It was a day at Louisiana Tech, and I think about the number of lives that were impacted by this. I mean, it's just these are the opportunities that I just thrive. Over. I just think it's an amazing opportunity, and it's because we have this great LaSTEM center that's built around partnerships. Because if you're trying to do something by yourself, oh my gosh, it's so much more difficult.
Oh yeah.
You put us all together, and we can get something done.
Yeah, another great picture, and just more great stories about the impact that you're making, that we're all making on the region. So yeah, absolutely. I'm enjoying this. I feel like I should just sit back. I want to just sit back and watch the rest of the show, and just let you keep going, because what you've collected and where you've been and how you've managed to gather all this information. And, again, we encourage everybody to contribute, right? Don't let it just be one story or another story. Let it be all of our stories as we, do these podcasts more and we celebrate these victories. What great imagery that you found around the state. It's really fantastic.
So let me ask you this. I mean, do we have time for me to show some fun stuff?
Please. I mean, absolutely.
So, I mean, it's October. It's Halloween. So obviously we're going to see some STEM Halloween stuff going on. So Louisiana Delta Community College, great partner, Dr. Claire Shepard, had gotten in touch with me and with some of the partnership funding that we had. She said, you think we could use some of this for spooky science? I'm like, oh, I'm in. You had me at spooky. I don't know what it means, but let's do it. And so this is the first thing I saw when I got to the campus that night. So some ghoulish character is leading a wonderful group of people. Y'all, if you ever have the opportunity to go to spooky science at Louisiana Delta Community College, you must go. They have every room filled with something amazing happening. I mean, it's all awesome. Sure, there are treats for kids. There was popcorn. There was candy. There was all this going on. But the stuff the kids and the awareness. Ryan, can I just talk about the awareness of this campus with people seeing what the possibilities are? I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity. We enjoyed hosting it. Everybody, who's going to participate gets dressed up. We expect a large crowd, usually in the thousands, at least 1,000, if not more, annually. And it's just a great time. This picture that you have up here, I love that this is an opportunity, right, for the students to learn, or the potential students, the youngsters, to learn something scientific, something STEM related.
But also,
right, exactly. But also, at the same time, enjoy the fact that they got a chance to dress up. It's no pressure. It's not like they're going to get a grade for it. They're just exploring, and that's what that picture shows right there. To me, is just curiosity, which is what we all need. A lot of times we're all about what's the outcome and what's the metric and whatnot. But when you're a kid, all you're worried about is let's just see what it does, and let's just take it as far as we can take it. Look at this other picture. I like this
glow stick or something going on there.
Yeah.
But I want y'all to notice. I mean, this was an experience. Look at the environment. You've got spiderweb stuff scattered all over the place. You have some people in costumes. It's okay if you're not in a costume. You've got treats for kids, but there's going to be some kind of STEM-related something going on. You've got representatives from Delta there, whether it be students, whether it be faculty and staff, they were everywhere. I mean, and look at this. Talk about the wild guy with the wild hair.
I know who that is.
Yeah. So you go in there, and so again, something I see, the heart is there. They're doing EKGs, and so it may be the first time a child has ever even experienced that. And it's a conversation starter, but the curiosity about, oh my gosh, I want to do something like that one day.
And look, it's not just for kids, as I'm sure many of the parents walking through realized they could participate. They could get some candy as well. I mean, it works for everybody. And really what it ends up being for Louisiana Delta Community College is an open house for our math and our sciences divisions. It's really, that's what it ends up being. But then it ends up being an open house for everybody, for the entire college. And it's just, I forget, I need to get Frank or Claire in here to talk about the genesis and the origin of all this. But, once it started, it never stopped. It only grew from there.
It's amazing.
We had maybe a a lapse, with COVID and whatnot, and then we came right back, and it was just as popular because everybody was waiting for it. So, and again, another great picture that you have up here.
Spidey. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then and I've got one where they're just looking at x-rays, which are spooky in themselves, but it doesn't, that's not rocket science. It doesn't have to be some huge over the top deal. It's just opening these doors. Look, there it is. And talking to the look at the little man's face. Is that not classic? Oh, wow.
I don't know if I like this x-ray right here because I've hurt myself a time or two.
Well, and you're talking to somebody that's half titanium. So yeah, I get that. But look at his face. The little man, he's never dawned on him what the inside of his hand might look like. And that is just like one of those aha moments.
Wow.
It's perfect. And so, yeah, Spooky Science was amazing. Now, on the other side of Spooky Science, I just have to say, oh, wait, forget it. I got to show one more picture.
Go ahead. Show us one more.
Yeah, I met this in the hall. So there you go.
Tamara,
dazzling at every corner. I was just like, if I don't get out of here, I'm going to be here all night. It was amazing. But here's the deal, y'all, that folks were willing to go to these links for such an amazing experience for these kids. I just thought it was fabulous. And so hats off to Louisiana Delta Community College for that. We could not top that in any way in Ruston, but we did show up at the Monster Mash, and we gave out Dancing Spider STEM kits.
Hey,
and so
look at that.
There you see a haggard Cathi Cox-Boniol completely, and then you see there's Missy with me. And so we put together these kits. Not a hard thing. It teaches kids what a spider is, how many legs does a spider have, can you make your spider dance? And there's things that, can you make your spider climb a wall? Can you make your spider float? And so there were things in their kit that allowed them to do that. And so you'll see us.
I wanted to, just looking at that, I'm thinking, wow, that's maybe simple enough that you're not going to be like 5 hours on it, and a whole day's worth of work, but yet something that the result of it is, wow, is it, can you program the spider? Is that what it is? Or you just put the legs on and
it looks like arts and crafts, but you have to think critically to make it do these things. And so it was a very simple little thing to put together. We did 1,000 of them, and those eyes, make those eyes big. Ask me why I was looking haggard.
Wow,
yeah,
that's some manpower.
And
there.
it was we had the best time. It was a huge hit. There's our boss, Dr. Lindsay Keith Vincent.
Yes.
She's handing them out too, and she's painted up like some cat or something. Like, you noticed that Missy and I didn't go for that, but anyway, she had her youngins out there, and the parents were thrilled. I think they were a little like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to make something, but still, they loved it. Everybody was excited, and they were thinking, oh wow, dancing spiders.
And I think, if you think about it, a lot of things are instant gratification, and a lot of things in just our environment, and run on, ease and things like that. But to put a little effort into something like a project like those spiders, right? Just a few minutes, and get it, critically think through it and get it to do something that maybe it wasn't supposed to do initially, or something that it was supposed to do in the instructions. The feeling of accomplishment, I know that those kids and maybe even some of those parents had just from something that simple, I think is really, really important. And we need to continue to encourage those types of learning experiences and those types of just opportunities to, take your time. The best things in life sometimes take a little bit of time, and yet how good do you feel once you've accomplished that? So that's great. I love it.
And I do like the idea too that it's something that families can do together when they go home.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge in itself, but it's also something that needs to be focused on, and we love that. But I personally just said I'm not interested in going out and just handing out candy. I just want, if we're going to do this, I want it to kind of connect back to our work in a fun way, and for them to realize that STEM is fun.
That's right.
You're building a spider. You're going to see if it'll dance. Can you make it flow? Come on.
It doesn't have to be scary. And here's something else I want to say. I know that sometimes in schools you look for a certain GPA to do STEM. You look for just a certain caliber of student. Maybe they have to be in the lower grades and gifted and honors. And really, we're doing our kids a disservice
Absolutely.
if we're not allowing them to maybe catch on to something, experience something that may change their whole academic
Absolutely.
career. All of a sudden, wait, I can do robotics, and I'm good at this. I can program. I can put these things together. Oh my gosh, now I want to come back to classes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't love every class I'm in, but I'm going to come to school because I know I can
That's absolutely
find
right.
accomplishment and satisfaction in this particular area. And it could be a STEM area, but you just you gotta expose students to it. You got to expose everybody to it.
And I'm glad you said that, because I've got one more thing I want to show. I'm going to put a picture up here of Melissa Lee. Melissa Lee was the Louisiana Middle Grade Student of the Year. She's also the reigning Miss Louisiana Teen Volunteer. And she is a girl in STEM. STEM, that is her gig. And so she likes to go speak to elementary students. And so I go with her and I help facilitate a little Q&A. So here she is talking to a group of 3rd and 4th graders. And the value in these kids, seeing someone from their hometown and hearing from them. I mean, she's a freshman in high school now. I liked math, and so I got interested in this. And then, there were people that helped me, and talking to them in real time about real things that they probably are experiencing themselves. I just love that. And I mean, I remember on this was at Cedar Creek School. She was talking to their elementary kiddos, and at the end they were just all, I mean, of course, it's good for her too. She feels like a rock star, but they're all asking questions about if I want to do STEM, and are there competitions that I can get involved in?
And that's a good one, right? Competition. So
yes.
Some folks, whoever you are driven by their competitive nature. They want to win. That's a draw, and then there's some that just want to experience it for the accomplishment's sake. So, the fact that she hit on that there's opportunity outside of the classroom to maybe, rise above the level of your competition, almost like an athletic event. Here we are. You can get a trophy for this. You can be recognized for this if you're really good at it. I mean, absolutely. Let's hit all the buttons. So that way you expand your net wider than just those who are just content with just the learning piece. Now I can stand out. I can be rewarded for this thing. Amazing. So I'm glad that was spoken to.
And I had a parent that actually reached out and said, Cathi, I need some help with this. He said, I need to find some STEM competitions for my son. Said, we're trying to get him into the Naval Academy.
Wow.
And they had sent in a kind of a pre-deal, and it was turned down. He said, I feel like it's because he has nothing about STEM on his application. So I was happy to share everything I have. There are so many different avenues that can steer kids into that pond. And so whatever it is, and here's my deal. At the end of the day, all of us in the year 2022, moving forward, we need to be developing a STEM mindset. Whether you're going to be a scientist, or you're going to work in the technical field, or you're going to be an engineer, it doesn't matter. We need to be able to problem solve, problem find, to critically think, to be able to question, and look at things and find the truth. And that takes a STEM mindset. And so that's kind of my motivation with every day, just making better citizens, through these STEM activities. I believe it's going to help us with our workforce needs, but I think it's going to create a better citizenry as well.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Wow, so we've covered a lot of ground in this inaugural episode, this inaugural podcast for SCILS Region 8 LaSTEM Center. But we don't have to stop there. I mean, if there's something else to speak to, I mean, I feel like we've had a rich experience. I know I've had a rich time just absorbing all of this, because there are things that I didn't know that were going on, and the way you were able to talk about it and just explain, it's fantastic. It gives me hope. It makes me feel good, that we're moving in the right direction, and we need to keep moving in this direction.
That's right.
But is there any other stories?
I'm going to say one more thing, and I just thought about this, and I probably should have said it when we were talking about our CS for You, but in developing that, we thought, Dr. Lisa Dick is actually one of the ones that kind of pricked our curiosity with this. What if there was an opportunity for, after they leave us, that they're able to continue developing their skills? And so I'm going to throw this up. She developed a suite of courses in Coursera. And so after they go through our CS for You, they can go home and they can continue working independently. So we have that inaugural cohort working on that. We'll probably have to go back and fine tune, but so we will recognize those that complete the 3 classes at our mini summit in May. These are middle grade girls learning to work independently on their own, develop their skills. Now, tell me if that's not going to encourage them to take the next step.
The worst thing I feel like, and we've talked about this in other conversations, is you have the one-off. You have that opportunity, it gets everybody jazzed, they're super motivated, and then there's no follow-up and there's no follow-through. And it's not like it just happens in the STEM space. I mean, we're not going to say that.
Everywhere.
It happens a lot of places. We get so excited, we have momentum, and then boom, nothing comes of it. Wow, what a great way to continue the dialogue, because these girls may come back and say, hey, well, I got stuck on this part, I had a question about this part. Maybe they're reaching out to their other friends.
That's it.
That were in the initial cohort.
Continue the networking.
And they're going to continue the network. And I mean, gosh, and then they get to compare notes afterwards. That's brilliant.
Well,
that's brilliant.
That's, Dr. Lisa Dick helped us with this, but we're really excited about it. And we think that there's all kind of potential around this, especially when we're talking about an area like Region 8 that is geographically spread out. I mean, it is unreal how scattered everybody is. When you talk about equity, this can be done. And so we're putting our toe in the water. Again, new territory, but I think that's what it takes, Ryan. We have to be willing to go there. And so we hope to have some great stuff to report about this when we come back together next time.
Incredible. I'm telling you that. Yeah. Wow. Mind-blowing stuff. I mean, innovative. And again, sometimes, what do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Something like that.
We're so geographically dispersed, as you said before. So what do? You create an online opportunity to continue to push forward these initiatives. I think it's fantastic. Wow.
We're excited.
Wait, this has been a really great first run, and I don't want to end it prematurely, but I feel like we've covered everything that we can cover. What an incredible discussion, what an incredible conversation. I really appreciate you being here, coming to Louisiana Delta Community College to be live in studio, to do our first ever recording, driving this way. Thank you so much. You are a true friend, partner, ambassador, all of the above for our region. And I know you're not the type that really likes to hear a lot of accolades, so I'll stop right there because I've seen you at some awards events, and I know you just kind of want to fade back into the crowd a little bit. But when you enjoy what you do, when you have purpose and a mission, and there's nothing that's going to get in the way of you completing that mission, I know it doesn't feel like work, and you end up shining. I mean, you just do. So, and so I'm forever thankful and grateful that I know you and that we can work together. I know there's a ton of people in the region that are also appreciative of that. And we just hope to continue to just build on this right here. Everybody that's watching this, thank you so much for watching. There will be yet another one coming up in November. And so eventually, if we get this thing down, we're going to go live with it, and then you can tune in live on your morning drive or wherever you are at that moment.
And send questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Send questions, send content, send, we want to, again, celebrate. This is a celebration, but it's also a discussion about what's coming up next, the opportunities that before we leave, are there any things that you want to talk about that might be coming up in the month of November? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
That's okay.
But
I will say that we do have, our next CS for You cohort coming in next week. As a matter of fact, we are doing a thing at Lincoln Parish Early Childhood Center on Monday. So I mean, that's pretty close to putting them in the car seat, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So we're trying that. We have our Region 8 LaSTEM Council meeting is going to be in Alexandria. We will be hosting in January. Okay. And so some things like that. But everybody can catch up with us in November when we bring the light back around.
And tell us once again, if you want to connect, right? If somebody they want to connect with you, they want to add to the narrative of what Region 8 LaSTEM is actually doing. How do they contact you, or how do they email, or what do they need to do to participate?
Yeah, probably the easiest thing would just be to email. You can email at region8lastem, all lowercase with the number 8, region8lastem @gmail.com, or ccox@latech.edu.
Okay, that's perfect. And again, send pictures, send stories, write-ups, and whatnot. We'll take it and we'll compile it, and then we'll put it into the next episode. Don't be shy. We need your stories because we want to celebrate those for sure. And send us some good pictures again. Again, I think it's time. right? It's been a great time again.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. And we'll see everybody at the next Skills Region 8 LaSTEM podcast in November. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you then.